y'all. Welcome to Paige's Perspective. On this week's episode, we're going to discuss the phrase, fake it till you make it. Oh yeah, I used to hate this phrase. I used to think that it meant I had to be inauthentic and I had to be fake, and I was never a fan of fakeness. But this phrase, once I truly understood what it meant, saved me at one of the most darkest times in my life. And in order to get out of my head and make changes, I literally had to fake it. You know, we talk about feeling your feels all the time and how it's really important to do that. But if we get stuck in our feels for too long with no change, it can cause a lot of issues. The phrase fake it till you make it is all about growing. It's about adopting behaviors and attitudes or skills that you want to have, even if you don't fully have them yet. So what are some behaviors, attitudes, or skills that you may want? For me, I'm going to go back to 2017 when I was hitting my rock bottom mentally. I wanted less anxiety. I wanted confidence. I wanted to be happy. I wanted the ability to not give a fuck. I wanted the ability to set boundaries, the ability to trust my gut. I wanted to be fit or healthy. I wanted to be able to present in front of people. I wanted to learn how to take effing criticism. That one I'm really working on. I wanted to not be such a perfectionist and be okay with failure. That's another one that I'm working on. I wanted to learn how to say no, be okay being me, and also be okay with change. I wasn't born with these attitudes. I was a pretty anxious kid. I was a perfectionist. I couldn't take criticism. I didn't want to rock the boat with people and didn't even like to ask questions. Like if I had to go to the restroom or something, I would hold it in as long as possible at school because I didn't want to raise my hand and put the attention on me to say, hey, can I go to the bathroom? Because I was scared that they were going to say no. I had the be a good girl mentality, which I feel is fairly common in certain societies, and I don't look at it as a flaw necessarily. As being that way as a child, it helped me become who I am today. I was a massive observer of my surroundings and environment, which I believe helped me become so in tune with others as an adult. But those behaviors held me back as an adult and kept me stuck. So that's why I had to fake it till I made it by changing, growing, and becoming more emotionally mature as an adult. So many of us stay stuck in these behaviors and attitudes because it's all we know, and we may fear change since it's uncomfortable. Or we may feel inauthentic because it's not who we think we are. You know, I would make excuses of, that's just not me. You know, does that sound familiar? Our partners in addiction may say the same thing. I mean, my issues weren't really impacting my spouse, like his issues were impacting me. But I did have the mentality of, that's just who I am. That held me back. I got to a point where those attitudes were harming me as an adult, and I knew something had to change. So let's go through how to fake it till you make it with some of these attitudes and behaviors. So I'm going to start with anxiety, because this one was one of my biggest issues that I had. All right, y'all, everyone has anxiety. It is a normal emotion that we have determined as society is bad, but it's meant to protect us and tell us when something is off. However, many of us have irrational fears that truly hold us back from our full potential. I was diagnosed with general anxiety disorder in 2017. For me, going to the grocery store would send me in a panic. That's irrational. Some may have fears that, their home will be burglarized in the night. This is irrational because the stats are low that that's going to happen. Some may have anxiety about getting gas alone or, at a gas station. That's irrational because, again, stats are low on being kidnapped or whatever it is that you're scared of. For me, I had some healing to do. And in order to heal, I had to fake it. So for anxiety, I started, with meditation. I faked it because I was told it would work eventually. Faked it till it actually calmed me after like 3 months of doing it. It wasn't a one-time ordeal where I was like, all right, my anxiety's gone. I feel great after meditating. No. It took a long process of faking it and doing something I didn't want to do for it to actually click and work. Telling myself that I'm safe over and over again while I exposed myself to the grocery store again, that was faking it because I didn't feel safe. My feelings may have been real, but they were not reality. Whenever I started practicing grounding techniques, I became more spiritual, which for me is being present and learning more about the Tao. And this all took me faking it because it wasn't me. It was new. It was uncomfortable. It was different. I almost wanted to fight it because it was uncomfortable, but I wanted change so bad that I was willing to go through with it. That's the two thoughts at once thing that we're talking about all the time. All right, another attitude is going to be confidence. We all want to be confident, right? Like, who doesn't want to be confident? Being confident takes a lot of faking it till you make it, because you have to make drastic changes and say goodbye to the old you. A lot of times in these situations, we lose our self-esteem and we don't feel like we have any confidence. And we've talked about why that's a thing in a lot of our previous episodes. But I'm just going to talk about how confidence faking it till you make it can make you confident. Not rocking boats didn't make me confident. Holding back my thoughts and feelings didn't make me confident. People pleasing didn't make me confident. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results did not make me confident. Faking it made me confident. Putting myself out there, taking care of myself, setting boundaries and having vulnerable conversations, learning not to give a fuck gave me confidence. Understanding that I can trust my instincts again gave me confidence. Talking to myself in a positive way gave me confidence. We are so hard on ourselves, and it becomes natural to us to be negative about who we are. So when we say positive things to ourselves, we are kind of faking it because it's not what we're used to doing. Eventually, we get to a place where we can be confident with who we are, which takes a lot of faking. All right, the next one is going to be being fit. I know, shut up about this, Paige. I've talked about it a lot within a lot of our episodes, but it's important. And it's not necessarily being fit, it's just being healthy. Did I want to eat healthy foods all the time or fast or drink a gallon of water a day, exercise? No. If it were easy, everyone would be doing it. I had to fake it till I made it. This is why we say motivation is temporary and will only last so long. We aren't meant to be comfortable all the time, y'all. Self-care is doing the hard things that benefit you in the future. That means faking it till you make it in the future. We all know the benefits of being healthy, yet we say stuck eating junk food and not exercising. Why? Because it's easy. I had to fake it and do what I knew would benefit me in the future. All right, the next one is going to be setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is not fun for a lot of people because we don't want to upset others or rock the boat, or maybe we just don't even know what we want. But it's so necessary for our well-being and for our happiness. Fake it till you make it. You have to start somewhere and set a boundary to protect yourself, and then keep faking it and setting more boundaries. Eventually, you will realize how empowering it is and how necessary it is for you and your happiness. It's not cruel or mean, y'all. It may be uncomfortable. It's going to feel new. It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel like it's wrong on so many levels, but you have to fake it in order to make it. Keep practicing setting those boundaries. It's not a bad thing to go through. All right, the next one is going to be presenting, because I mentioned that earlier, and you've all heard me discuss how I didn't want to do a podcast, but I faked it because it's a great way to get our, story and mission out there and help others. I had to put my insecurities aside and force myself to get uncomfortable. I'm not perfect. I'm still learning, but in order to get through the first year of discomfort, guess what I had to do? I had to fake it. And I'm so grateful I did, because it's huge growth for me, and our message is getting out there that is saving lives. This goes along with not being a perfectionist. Like, I've really had to fake it here, change my cognitive distortion to embrace failure and mistakes. And I've learned over the years that it's never as big of a deal as I think it is when I make a mistake. I learn from them and move on. This is adulting. This is what is something that we all need to go through in order to grow up. Initially, I may catastrophize a bit because that's how my brain is wired to react in these situations, but I know that I have the power to change that thought. So that's where I fake it. I don't have to trust my first thought all the time, because that's just how my brain has been wired for years and years and years. I've been doing the same thing over and over again. it wasn't doing me any good. It was time to make a change. So here's a quick run through on how to fake it till you make it with common skills that many of us, wish we had. The confidence. Let's talk about body language. Your posture. Stand tall, keep your shoulders back, and maintain good posture. So I was a ballet dancer growing up, and I had wonderful posture as a kid. But once my confidence was shot and I was really losing my self-esteem, my posture went along with it. I'd walk around with my shoulders down, my head down. I wouldn't make eye contact with people. I seemed sad all the time. Like it was just, you could see it in my body. But once I start practicing, I need to work on this a little bit more because I figured I can feel my posture sometimes and then I just forget. But when we stand tall, it shows that we have confidence and it actually helps us feel more confident. Smiling, this can improve our mood as it is. And it kind of makes you feel confident. And I'm not saying constantly fake your smiles, but smiling is a big deal. And sometimes if we just put a smile on our face, it can help us get through some really hard times. Dress the part. Wear clothes that make you feel confident and professional. Yeah, I need to work on this because I used to do this a little bit. I dabble in it back and forth. And then I get to a point where I'm like, no, I'm just comfortable in, t-shirt and jeans and some sneakers, that's me pretty much. That's part of my personality. But sometimes I want to feel confident. And sometimes that means wearing heels and a cute dress and, feeling a little different. So dressing the part is important. And sometimes you got to fake that till you make it. Learn continuously. Invest your time in learning and improving the skills that you want to have. Our program, Independently Strong, can help with this because you're learning and you're, educating yourself on the things that are going on. And we have a self-awareness section that helps with cognitive distortions and how we may be perfectionists or catastrophize or minimize and normalize, like doing all these things that are no longer serving us. The next one is going to be network and build relationships. Connect with people that you want to be like. Connect with those who you aspire to be like those who are successful in the areas that you want to be, that you want to excel in. You can learn from their experiences and even seek mentorship and allow them to help you become the best version of yourself possible. Practice, practice, practice. You've got to regularly practice the skills and the behaviors that you want to develop. This will build your confidence over time and rewire your brain to do what you want it to do. Authenticity. So this is kind of where the gray area comes in line because when you're adopting these new behaviors, it's important to remain true to your core values and personality. So, being a people pleaser, that's not a value of mine. It had to change. It wasn't serving me anymore. Anxiety isn't part of my personality. It had to change. Giving way too many fucks was no longer serving me, so I had to make a shift there. Now, being sensitive is part of my personality, and I'm not really changing that, even though it's difficult to live with sometimes. I'm trying to find the gray area there. It is part of my personality. So when I refer to faking it till you make it, I'm not saying to fake be happy in a marriage that's one-sided, or faking your emotions to please others. This is unhealthy faking it, and it's not going to get you to making it. When I say fake it till you make it, I mean do what makes you uncomfortable, even though you know it's the right thing for you to do. Paying attention to your instincts is faking it because you're so used to ignoring them. Faking it till you make it is rewiring our brains to do what we want to do in life. It's helping us become the most authentic versions of ourselves possible. It helps with personal development and just growing up while letting go of the behaviors that no longer help us but harm us. Just remember, faking it till you make it isn't a bad thing if you are using it to be better. That's the goal. All right, guys, that's all I have for this week. So until next time, I'm Paige. Bye.